Afternoon, all. Thank you so much all for joining us today. I'm going to give it just another minute or two. As everybody logs on, if I could just ask you to update your Zoom name so that it contains your name, your company name, and if you'd like to put your preferred pronouns, please do. Hi, Gavin. If at any point you would like subtitles, Zoom allows you to click on the live transcript button on the Zoom panel, if that helps. And just a flag that we will be recording this session, mostly for the part that I will be talking to in the beginning, just describing the program, which will go onto the website. And then we'll be using the section of the video where you ask questions to update our FAQ. So that won't go onto the website, but just so you're aware if you got a notification when you joined. Right, I think we should start. People can join when they can. And the idea is obviously that this is live for those who want it, but on the website for those who are watching this retrospectively. So welcome, everyone. Fantastic that you've joined us here today. My name is Katja Masconi. I'm the Senior Program Manager at DigitalHealth.London and the Health Innovation Network. And I'm leading on this Innovative Leap program. We have 30 minutes together today, and I really want to ensure that we're able to get through all of your questions. So I'm going to be really brief in terms of the overview I give you about us as an organization and about the program. And then I want to stop sharing, open up the floor, and we'll kind of slowly work through all of your questions. Please do put your questions in the chat as I talk. Otherwise, feel free to kind of raise your hand at the end and we can go through that verbally. So a bit about us. DigitalHealth.London is a partnership organization between the Health Innovation Network South London, MedCity, and CW Plus, which is the charity for the Chelsea and Westminster NHS Foundation Trust. We work pan-London to connect NHS staff, digital health companies like yourselves, and academics, equipping them to improve the NHS and social care through digital technology. We do this by delivering a varied portfolio of programs with multiple funders. But the key funder we're going to be talking about today and who is funding the LEAP program is the Greater London Authority through their UK Shared Prosperity Fund. I'm not going to go through these in too much detail, but our strategic goals as an organization are key to driving what we deliver, who we deliver it to, and who we deliver it with. Digital health is our passion, which you'll soon come to understand. And we're heavily involved in supporting this across London through our accelerator, our launchpad, as well as this LEAP program. Supporting digital health companies, as well as supporting NHS staff who are delivering transformation in their organization through our fellowships. We've been supporting the system since 2016 and have grown an extensive network of experts, both locally, regionally, as well as internationally. Right, so let's get into the nitty gritty. Why LEAP? Why now? And I think the key to really highlight here is we spend an incredible amount of time ahead of our accelerator cohort recruitment, understanding how we can ensure equitable support to all founders. This includes targeted outreach while applications are open, and includes representation at all phases of the recruitment process, as well as content consideration and delivery during the program delivery. And each year, we'd reflect on our ability to do this. We would iterate kind of as we entered the recruitment of the next cohort, and yet with support from both sides of those people who took part in the program, applied for the program, and those people who helped deliver the program, we still did not quite feel we were making the impact on founders from underrepresented groups positively enough. Following many conversations with individuals in the system over the last probably 8 months, and trying to find that balance between supporting and boosting underrepresented groups who are founders and deliverers of digital health technology, but also not separating those individuals from our flagship programs, LEAP was born. And the vision for this is for us to build a space for you to address barriers that are unique to you, find support amongst peers who might be facing the same challenges as you, but while still giving you access to the DigitalHealth.London network, which is important for the growth of your business. So really trying to give you the best of both worlds. we have built an advisory panel of senior stakeholders in the NHS, the digital health space, as well as the investment space. So I'm not going to name anybody yet, but kind of think head of horizon scanning NHS England, or think of a senior entrepreneur at the Francis Crick Institute. So really key players in the digital health and healthcare space across London. We want to support you as a founder on this program, as well as your growth over 2024 while you grow your digital health company. So that's a little bit about why Leap. And now moving straight on to what it is that you can expect if you are successful in applying. So naturally, as the age-old tale goes, what you put in is what you get out. So this program can be as deep or as light touch as you make it. We would like you to really make the most of a mentor that you'll each be paired with. You'll meet with them every 8 weeks over the course of 2024. We will be setting up action learning sets, which I won't describe into too much detail now, but for those of you who have done action learning sets and can really appreciate the value of them, it is such a fantastic space with peers that will become your sounding board over the course of the year that you will meet regularly. You'll have a very rare opportunity to create your own roundtable event with a group of your peers. Think of a barrier that you face that you'd like to address with senior stakeholders. So as an example, one thing we know we'd really like to focus on is supporting investment as a Black founder. And this is something that you feel that you face, something that you feel has been a bit of a barrier. And you are in a position where you can bring together 15 NHS digital health investment experts to discuss this, to learn from each other, to network with each other, and to suggest recommendations for this sector or this barrier going forward. We will have monthly office hour slots for you to drop in, give us an update on how your progress is going, both personally and with your digital health company, as well as ask for support. The support can then lead you to access to subject matter experts. Think anything from regulation experts to clinicians, to investors. So really kind of trying to individualize the support that you can get through those office hours to understand what it is that you are facing, what it is you'd like to focus on. Finally, a showcase, which is as great as it sounds. Essentially a showcase at the end of the program to showcase your growth, your product and its progress at a networking event with senior stakeholders from across the health and care sector. What would we need from you if you're successful? So your commitment to joining this program would be an onboarding day in person in London in March. It would include 2 to 3 in-person events in London over the course of the program in 2024. You'll have between 6 and 8 hours with your mentor. This is either virtual or in person. We will leave that up to you and your mentor to decide what works best for the both of you. You might want to do a bit of a mix. Maybe your first meeting is in person, so you get to know each other. You follow on virtually. We'll really leave that for you to shape yourselves. You'll meet 4 times over the course of the program for a 3-hour action learning set with a smaller group of those of you who are on the program, and you'll meet with the same group each time. Again, I would probably encourage these to be in person, but we have to be realistic that that's not always the case. So we'll leave that to each action learning set to shape how they'd like that to look. And then, as I said, what you put in is what you get out. There is so much more that you have access to. The subject matter expert meetings will be driven by you. You tell us who you want, who you'd like to speak to, the type of people you'd like to speak to, and that is really going to be driven by you and what it is that you need. Peer networking is something, is a piece of feedback we get from every individual who's joined any of our programs of being one of the most beneficial things. So we will leave that to you to push and to organize as you wish over and above what we arrange. I've spoken about the office hours. That will kind of be a virtual drop-in session that's open to all of you once a month. And that is not mandatory. It's for you to make use of as you wish. You can be there for the whole session. You can be there for part of the session. Maybe there's some months you can't attend. We'll leave that to you to drive as you wish. And naturally, as an organization who delivers a very wide variety of programs and is funded and supported by a number of organizations across London, we both deliver and have access to a number of really fun, useful networking events. So those will always be advertised with you as and when appropriate, and we'll leave that to you to take on as much as you are able to, while also running a digital health company at the same time. So if we dive straight into eligibility, I think kind of really key to bring to life here is the purpose of the LEAP program being about supporting you as a founder And that will naturally lead into supporting your product and your company. But kind of the real core focus of this is to understand what it is that you're facing as a barrier and how we can help you overcome that. From a funding perspective, we obviously have certain boxes that we need individuals and companies to fall into, purely from what we've sold to them as a fantastic program and what we feel is the right approach from our experience and what we feel the market needs at the moment. So that comes both as how you identify yourself, as well as your company being below the upper limit of an SME. So essentially kind of less than 250 people employed, and your annual turnover and your annual balance are not exceeding high numbers in the millions of euros. You are based in London. That I suspect is probably going to be a question. Is not a specific and as obvious as a bricks and mortar office. This can be, you have a staff member who works in London. You might have a co-working space membership that's based in London. So this is an area that we just need to ensure that you show that there is a commitment to doing business in London and to having some form of presence in London. So happy to answer that a bit more specifically about your situation as we go along. And finally, as we are government funded, part of our program is naturally that it is free to you as the applicant and if you're successful in the program, but does count towards your minimal financial assistance value. So you need to have claimed less than £300,000 over the last 2 financial years. So again, happy to talk about that separately if you're not quite sure where you sit in that, but those are kind of the key criteria to be eligible to apply for this program. So next steps, we are closing applications at midnight on Sunday. The applications will be reviewed both internally by a few members of our team, as well as externally by our advisory panel. We are not doing interviews, but we might contact you ad hoc to ask some clarifying questions. And I think really what we want you to highlight here is bringing out in that application what it is that you think we can help you with as a founder and how we can help you grow over the next 12 months, and really focusing on that, bringing that passion to life. How can we see that through your application? And the vision is that by latest the 14th of February, we will touch base with everybody who applied to let you know if you have been successful or not. Right, that is more than enough from me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see each other a bit better, and I'm going to hand over to Vanessa now to introduce herself, and then we will open the floor. There's no pressure here. There's not that many of us, so feel free to just put your virtual hand up, and we'll kind of slowly make our way around the room. I can see some notifications in the chat, so I suspect there might be some questions there. Over to you, Vanessa.
Hi, I'm Vanessa. I work with Katya. I'm the project manager who's going to steer the project forward. So you will, if you're successful, you hear from me quite a lot, and we'll interact quite a lot. Hopefully, we've given you a good overview of what to expect. I've put a few bits in the chat, but please feel free to ask any questions. Oh, Dream.
Sorry, I had to lower hand and turn my sound on. I'm also applying to Bethnal Green Ventures. Is it possible to apply to a couple of incubators, including yours at once?
Yes, technically. Yeah, sure. Yes, technically, there's no boundary as to being on multiple at the same time. I suppose it's more just being sure that the time commitment that each of them require for you to maximize that opportunity is something that you can offer.
Definitely, I definitely can. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
And then, Katya, should you also be mindful of that minimum financial assistance criteria? Yeah.
I think Bethnal Green Ventures is 60,000, so it'll still be well below that ceiling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So, anyone else? Any questions at all? If you're feeling a bit shy, you can drop them in the chat. We'll pick them up.
Yeah, I've got a question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, you mentioned like minimum funding, like so I'm based in Ireland, but we are going to be entering into the UK market, and we're going to obviously have a base there. So I'm just wondering, the funding, is it de minimis funding in the UK per se, or is it European wide or global?
Just the UK. It used to be European wide, but that's no longer a
Okay.
consideration.
And you mentioned as well there's something about like something about an SME and the minimum size. What exactly does that relate to?
So your company needs to employ less than 250 people.
Okay, cool, perfect.
An SME is larger than when I first kind of moved into the more commercial market 10 years ago. I was quite surprised at how large an SME could in fact be.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I can't see any other hands.
Leon's hand is up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions. My first question is, so we've got two co-founders that would both be eligible, and therefore is the application for an individual, or could we work together to work out what's best and who's best to attend various sessions, and in terms of time commitment, in terms of running the business, to make sure that we can balance it between us? That's the first question.
I would say, so the application form needs to be a single founder. So I just pick one, but I think once embedded into the program, there's no specification why you couldn't share that load between the two of them to really make sure, you're all benefiting from the.
And then my second question, kind of related, is the program specifically for the founders, or is it to support the business, or both? And how does it align with the accelerator and the launchpad in terms of the other programs that DigitalHealth.London offer? What's the differences, and what are the benefits of one over the other in terms of, if we're eligible for all of the programs, which one should we choose as the most appropriate?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's something we've been having a lot of discussion as we grow and as the number of programs we deliver grow, of how we can support individuals to make the right decision as to what program fits best for them. So I'll start with the accelerator and the launchpad, because those are kind of our first two kind of key accelerators supporting digital companies. So accelerator has been going for the longest, and is a 12-month program specifically supporting a digital health company. So there isn't really, it doesn't matter who engages with the program. It doesn't have to be a founder. It can be a senior manager. It can be kind of any business development manager. And the focus for those 12 months is business growth. So it's all about introducing you to people within the health and care system that you need to help refine your product, refine your value proposition, hopefully get pilots, contracts, that type of thing. So the accelerator is really, really focused on company growth and company expansion. The launchpad kind of was a spin out of the accelerator. We really saw a big gap in that space between, you are a company, you've already got your minimal viable product, but you're not quite at the point where you are. If a trust said to you on Monday, can you roll out tomorrow? You're not quite there yet. You still need potentially a bit of evidence. You still might need some support to understand exactly where on the user pathway you fit. And that's where the launchpad was born. So I'd say the launchpad is, we're trying not to segregate it too much, but slightly earlier stage, whereas the accelerator are slightly more mature companies, kind of ready for adoption and spread, ahead of the launchpad. And although not a feeder, many companies do the launchpad and then end up on the accelerator. So we've been doing those for many years. Leap is new. This is the first time we're delivering something like this. And I would say it sits somewhere between that and the fellowships we run for NHS staff. So the vision of Leap is largely to support the founder. So I'd say probably a good 70% of the program is around founder growth. Naturally, that growth can be around in business. So it could be around, I really struggle to get investment. I really struggle to navigate the NHS. And so that can be shaped into company growth, but is really also focused a lot on kind of that leadership element of running a digital health company, really focused on what barriers you might be facing as a founder who is from an underrepresented group, that we know in the digital health space through the years that we've been doing this, that, you just don't often have a seat at the table. There just aren't very many of you at the table. And we want to make sure that is not the case going forward. But there is still company support. So the use of those subject matter experts, the use of the office hours, the use of your mentor is still there for you to ask those commercial questions. We can still help you with your value proposition. If someone has a company and says, what I really need is I need some feedback from physios about my product, we can still make those introductions. That's still part of the business growth as part of the program, but slightly more founder focused than I'd say both of the other accelerators are.
Thank you.
So anyone else Any burning questions? No?
If no one else has got another question, I've got a sort of a follow-on question again. Sorry.
Yes.
And it's we're at the latter stages of the NIA fellowship for one of the founders, and therefore potentially applying to Leap and running that together. Is that something that we would try, that we could fit together, or would the programs be essentially duplicating each other?
Where does the NIA start? Did you say at the end of the NIA?
So no, we're at the end of we're in kind of the latter stages of the
application process.
So we're going through
okay,
the interview stages.
Interesting. So I would say Leap is probably more similar to the NIA than our accelerator, in that there's a lot of that founder support, founder focus in the NIA. There certainly will be overlap. The NIA probably has a very intense time commitment attached to it, more so than the Leap will, because the Leap is obviously kind of driven by how much it is. We kind of have the basics, but the rest of it's really driven by you. I probably wouldn't do both. From a personal commercial perspective, I feel like it would be the case of you probably get a lot of similar stuff. We have, we're all in the same space. We have generally quite a similar network. We all work with the health innovation networks. And I don't know if it would be the best commercial decision to split your time, have that much time split across programs that are quite similar.
Okay, that's helpful.
If I'm honest.
So Cassia, there's Rosalind has a question, which is, would it benefit social enterprise startups? I don't know if we need to. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think the key is as long as it is in the really broad sense of health and social care, and that can include the social enterprise space, the voluntary space, care home, so social care, so kind of really open to all ends of the health and care sector. The key to it is our passion and our expertise lies in digital health. So as long as whatever you're doing fits into the digital health category, that is where you will get the best of our team and the best of our network, because that is our USP.
Rosalind, is that okay? Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Any other questions? Anything else? No?
If not, I probably worth mentioning, as I was talking through it, I feel like I probably should have laid more emphasis on obviously the fact that this is not a program that offers funding, as many kind of government and NHS funded accelerator programs don't. But we are we're an organization that has fantastic investor links. So one of our advisory panel members is from the Cambridge Angels Network. MedCity, one of our founders, has their own investor and angels network. And then Health Innovation Network South London, which is the health innovation network that hosts us, has recently developed their own investment board. And so while we naturally won't be offering you investment, the vision is that you will have access to a wide range of investors that will allow you to both practice your pitching, but also obviously kind of hopefully grow those relationships for you to take forward to grow your business. So something I thought worth highlighting, just so you know that that's one of the benefits of our network.
Sorry, I've got another question, if that's okay. Just this might have been answered in the first 5 minutes, but unfortunately I wasn't here the first 5 minutes. Where does Leap sit in terms of accelerator and launchpad?
Yes, so we have answered this one. So if you envision, so Leap and Launchpad, all of them support digital health companies.
Yeah.
Accelerator and Launchpad are more company support focused. So it's less about who the person is that it's applying from the company, and it's less about their growth and the barriers that they are facing. Whereas Leap is more about founder support and their growth over the course of the program. That being said, both do have sides of the other. So I would say, I think I said about probably 70% of this program is around founder growth, but the other 30% is still focused on business growth.
Yeah.
In terms of company maturity, the Launchpad is almost a feeder program for the accelerator. So slightly earlier stage companies, potential companies are still looking to generate evidence. And understand where they sit in the user pathway, that type of thing. Whereas the accelerator supports companies who are kind of ready to rumble, ready for kind of wide scale and adoption. Leap is not bound by either of those. So we are, you know, happy as long as a company has a minimal viable product and is kind of out there and in some form of use, whether that be piloting, testing, or kind of much further down the line. The focus is less around the maturity of the company and more around the barriers the founders would like to overcome. What I did mention is that naturally the barriers that a founder might hit kind of overlap with company goals, company runway, company roadmap goals. So, you know, it might be that investment is kind of something that you feel you don't often get a seat at the table with. And that obviously does then interlink with a company goal. So there is that overlap, but I would say more founder focused than accelerator and launchpad.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
I think that naturally they're just, as the founder grows, the company will as well. And with the networking opportunities that we will provide, you'd grow your own network. So any other questions after that? Or can I remind you that the applications close on Sunday at the 14th at about midnight. When does the program start? So we envisage the launch event will happen around the beginning of March. So that's when the support starts. Is that all right? But of course, once you submit the application and we review and get the outcomes to you, we'll share dates and timings for your diaries as soon as that's the outcome's been announced. So yes, so the applications close on the 14th. Just to remind you as well that on the application itself, it does say mark as complete, and then you have to go to the top of the page and then submit. So just bear that in mind. And if there are no other questions, we're going to wish you the best of luck, and do reach out. There's an email address on the application form. So if you want to ask any questions before now and Friday, hopefully, we can answer them, and look forward to meeting you guys if you're successful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.